I never thought my wife Lisa would cheat on me during my financial struggles. Not only did I expose her infidelity in front of her family, but I also sent the evidence to her lover's wife. I am 43 male, married to my wife Lisa, 39 female, for 17 years. We have two boys, 15 and 12. It feels so strange to write about my marriage after being together for 17 years. Like any other relationship, our marriage also has its share of highs and lows. It was not anything major for the first 10 to 11 years. But 6 years back we faced a major setback in life. My warehouse got fired. The insurance did cover for the losses, but it took me years to bounce back. Just before that accident, we had bought a new house which was on mortgage. We had to sell the house and go back to the previous one. I had to sell my car because we couldn't afford to. Lisa didn't agree on selling hers, so I had to sacrifice mine. She was a stay-at-home mom, so I used to take her car when I needed to. During that time our marriage hit rock bottom. Lisa was not in a mood to compromise her lifestyle. We were living a pretty decent life before this crisis hit. All of a sudden, everything went for a loss. It was not only for her, it was for all of us. But she behaved as if she was the only one who was suffering. She refused to downgrade her amenities, be it her car or a shopping spree or her monthly spa and maintenance sessions. I had to juggle multiple responsibilities. At this time, it was not only about setting up the business from scratch, but along with that I had to ensure food on the table and not to mention the school expenses for the two children. Instead of being understanding and supportive, Lisa acted as a whining witch. Her attitude pissed me off. She also got resentful of me. I got distant from her. She used to gaslight this situation and play the victim. She didn't understand why I was suddenly cold. She didn't even try to understand. All she did was badmouth me and for her family, and they came ganging up on me for mistreating her. Ganging up in the sense they would come and not necessarily poke their nose in my matters. Lisa has always been close to her family. She has this big and connected family tree. Her parents lived next street and two of her siblings also put up within a mile's radius. Lisa had an irritating habit of involving her parents and siblings in her personal matters. I hated it so much. Not that her family was wicked or unfair towards me. Yet I didn't like their involvement in her business. Whenever I raised this to discussing my matters with them, she would say they are family and family shares problems with each other. No doubt they would sometimes help me, but it also made me feel incompetent. Anyways, I was able to rebuild my business somehow. It took me 5 or 6 years, but I bounced back with my business picking up the pace. I thought my personal life would also bounce back. We again started going out on vacations, spent weekends hiking and went out for dinner and lunch. My children, who were also worried about our finances, were now slowly recovering from infidelity. However, Lisa was still distant and cold. Last month was our anniversary, and this time I planned a surprise celebration for her in the same way as we used to have it earlier. I thought it would be a great way to rejuvenate our lost spark. She was delighted to have received all the gifts in her love life did rekindle, but it was for a brief period. After a week, I went to S1. She was still the same. That was when I sensed that it had gone beyond the financial crisis. Until now I was blaming the money problems to be the reason for our crumbling relationship. But now that it's sorted, the next evident reason that came to mind was obviously an affair. I started digging into the matter. I tried checking her phone, but it was password protected and I couldn't crack it. I paid close attention to her schedule for all these years. I was ignorant to not notice the red flag, or maybe, after working 14 to 16 hours a day, stooping on my wife was the last thing that came to mind. Now that I was relatively free, I started spending more time with my sons. In one of those conversations I found out Lisa was going out every other afternoon and sometimes every day. I asked my kids if they knew where she was going, and they said they had no idea. Lisa never told them. I bought a tracking device and installed it inside her car the next day. She was stepping out in the afternoon. I followed her through. She drove almost 20 mi away and entered a hotel. I parked my car a few buildings behind and walked to the hotel not to get spotted by her or her acquaintance. By the time I went there she had vanished. She was nowhere to be seen. I went in and took a table in the hotel cafe. I was waiting there for an hour to see if someone known showed up, but I didn't see anyone known coming in there. I left after a while. After returning halfway, an idea struck with me that I should go back and wait for them to leave. I made a U-turn and went back there. This time I waited inside my car. After an hour she came out. That's when I saw a third partner. I didn't recognize him. He was someone she had befriended outside her social circle. I captured her photos and videos of hugging and kissing at the exit gate. She's indeed cheating on me. And I know for this that has been going on for a long time. Maybe since this downfall of my business, to say the least. This happened when I was in the first or second year at junior high school. I think I was about 13 years old. I grew up in the countryside. It is evident that she's fooling around with that man. It is not sufficient to confront her. She could come up with any excuse to cover this up. And I don't want to blow up my chances. I want something concrete, like their chats or videos or their actual doing. I was searching for the various ways of doing that and I landed upon this subreddit. Anyone of similar experiences or any idea on how I should proceed would really appreciate it. Thanks. Update 1. Hello. All thanks for the suggestions. One of the most common ideas I got from people was hiring a PI. I spoke to a few agencies to understand their process and their charges, but none of it was appealing. So I decided to try it on my own first, and if I didn't get any breakthrough, I'd hire a PI one day. Lisa was busy in the kitchen. I hid my phone on the closet and asked Lisa for her phone to call on my number. She unlocked it and gave it to me without suspecting anything. I downloaded a hidden clone app on her phone. It took just about a few minutes and I was done. I then accessed her phone data remotely. The first thing I did was look up her chats. I exported all the chats and their partner's information from there. I also found his email address from her inbox, their pictures and videos from the gallery. I was in a hurry because I didn't know how this app would function. I was scared. What if she gets a notification from this cloning or so? I wanted to gather as much information as possible. After receiving all the information from her phone, I went to my warehouse to read and review it closely. The chat was backed up from 6 months old, but it seemed like they had been seeing each other for years now. They both were showering their love with each other and talked dirty about their partners. It was also pretty evident that they weren't planning on getting married or getting a divorce from us. They were enjoying their time with each other and cursing their partners. They shared explicit pictures of themselves, but there was no video of them together. Her fair partner's wife is in a good professional job and is away for 10 hours a day. Her fair partner is a baseball coach at a school, so he remains free post-afternoon and goes around drilling others' wives. Her fair partner's family background I found through his social media accounts. Now that I have enough evidence to crack up his marriage, I'm going to reach out to his wife. But before that I want to expose the leech residing in my house. I don't want to let her escape with dignity. I want to humiliate her and embarrass her the way she did to me over my financial crisis. I'm just not able to figure out how. Update to hello and thanks for all the constant support. Connecting with you folks in the comments is the best therapy I'm getting in the tough times. The last update ended while I was speaking about having collected the evidence by cloning her phone to mine. I was apprehensive about the functionality of that app and didn't want to get caught. But the app was discreet and went hidden for 2 weeks before I disabled it. I had enough evidence by then. I was so disgusted to witness their live chats. She used to sex him sitting right in front of the kids and me. She gave the details of what she was wearing in and out and how she was lying on the couch, spreading herself yearning for him. My kids were just next to her when she was saying, "I wish you were here on top of me." It was just so gross. I don't know how I kept myself composed in those situations. I mean, understand this. You were sleeping next to your wife and she's sexting her lover, wishing how she wants to get touched. Right now she was even rubbing her hands on my back while elaborating, eating on some of these desires. I want to strangle her in her sleep. Sometimes, when I retrieved the data from her phone, I only found a few photos that they had shared. It was mostly selfies and new dresses or lingerie. I thought they were not sharing explicit ones. I was wrong. They were sharing nudes. But she was deleting it immediately. Hence it didn't get backed up now. Since I was tracking it in real time, I was able to fetch all of it. Not only did they share nudes, but also short videos of touching themselves. Meanwhile, when all of these were piling up as evidence, I made a perfect plan of exposing it to the world. Reader family, I shot an email to all her close family members, her parents, her siblings, her godmother, aunt, uncles, and some of her best friends. I invited them for a surprise party but didn't reveal the reason. The invitation just said we were expecting happy news. I had clearly mentioned not to spill the beans to Lisa or the children. I was able to pull off a surprise anniversary celebration a few months ago, so I was pretty confident about this one too. Last time the children were on board with me for the preparation, but this time I had to ensure that they were out of this at least during the confrontation. How much ever. I hate Lisa. I can't let her children see her in that way. People who received my invitation guessed that I had bought a new house because it was neither our anniversary nor our birthdays. They could have considered us to be expecting parents, but in that case it wouldn't have been a surprise for Lisa. I asked them to try coming together to make this surprise impactful and also asked Lisa's sister to grab champagne and cake on the way. She gladly did that. On the supposed evening before they arrived, I sent my children to their friends for a sleepover. Lisa was least bothered to question what was going on. She was busy communicating with her desires to her lover when her parents and siblings arrived with champagne and cake. That's when Lisa asked me what was happening. I told her I had news to share. She immediately updated her lover about this, that she would be away for a few hours and would continue sexting. After wrapping up my stuff, sent loads of hugs and kisses and then archived all the chats and turned off the notifications. Such a clever witch. After that, she was all over me, hugging and showering her love on me. As everyone had guessed, she too was thinking it would be news regarding our new house or something of that sort. She couldn't stop gushing about me and how lucky she was to have me as her husband. I just smiled, waiting for others to arrive. When it was time, I asked Lisa to sit with me at the center. She held my hand in excitement. The projector was riding the living room. The first slideshow started with her lip locked with a fair partner, and before anyone could react, it moved quickly to another with their explicit chats, with increased fonts and news they had shared. I could feel the sweat and shiver on Lisa's palms as she was asking me to stop. The slideshow was running automatically when it became unbearable for everyone. Her siblings insisted that we discuss our private matters separately. I literally pounced on them saying, why should we discuss this matter privately while all my matters were discussed bare open? In front of you. Guys, remember when I was asking Gil to sell her car and she called all of you here and you guys asked me to sell mine? I had to use public transport or beg her for the car in case of an emergency. Whenever we faced any financial crisis, all of you came here to help me. So today as well, all you should help us sort out the matter. The room fell quiet, with the slideshow still running on the projector. Her mother yelled at me, "What do you want?" I replied to her on the same tone. "Ask your daughter to confess everything now, in front of everyone." Lisa was crying, all this while her face buried between her palms. She refused to say anything. After a lot of nudging and me getting mad at her family, she looked at me and said, "You've made an entire movie on me. What else do you want to listen to?" I said everything else. How and when did it start? Why did you feel the need for an affair partner, and what was your future plan? Her parents and uncle left, saying they didn't want to be a part of this crap show. I wanted them not to meddle in my matters again. Her siblings and friends stood back to support her with multiple spells of breakdowns. She confessed everything. As I had guessed it, it all started when that financial crisis hit. She said she never intended to cheat on me or something, but I was emotionally unavailable during that period and she felt lonely. It amazes me to think that if there was anyone who needed support at that time, it was me. I was the one juggling all the balls together instead of supporting me. She turned home. She said we never intend to go physical. We started off as friends and nothing more. I found solace in him. He was also lonely. His wife is away for work for 10 hours a day. And so were you. We connected over this. I'm sorry. I never realized when this emotional thing got physical and we started enjoying each other's company physically. She went on and on like, I'm sorry. I'm a terrible person. Please don't show this to our children. They're going to hate me. I'm a terrible mom. And all that her friends and siblings were comforting her. Why? Because she was crying and pleading. No one tried to understand my pain. I got the image of a bad guy because I humiliated my wife in front of everyone. She gave me a look. What did you get by bringing this up in front of everyone? We could have sorted this out privately. I know there would be a lot of people here who would question me the same. I think I have given enough reason as to why I did this. I'm not going to defend myself further. I've been through enough. I've spent more than half of my life working my butt off with my family, and this is what I get in return. Now I don't care about anyone but myself and my well-being. Update 3. Hello. All sorry for leaving the post midway. I just got too emotional pinning down my W's in. Thanks to all of you who tried to understand me and connect with me. I cannot thank you enough for standing by me in this time of need. So after the confrontation, I served her with the divorce papers. Yeah, I had it prepared well in advance. While I was collecting the evidence, she pleaded with me. Divorce is not a solution. It would ruin our children's lives. If you want, I can break up with this man right now and never see him again. I promise to be a good wife and good mother, as I have been all these years. I deserve one chance for all of that I have done for you and the kids. I said she ruined our children's lives the moment she brought another man into her bed. And divorce is not going to bring any new damage to their life. She asked why we were going to tell them. I said they are almost adults now and should understand the situation. I'm not going to hide the divorce from them, but we can reveal the reason appropriate to their age. I said I would be moving out and she could stay in the house until the lease lasts. I don't want to live in this house surrounded by her family and friends. The children could choose with whom they wanted to stay. Eventually, everyone left and I couldn't bear to share the roof alone with her. So I left and spent the night at my warehouse. The next morning I came home and the children were already there. I told Lisa to talk to the children about our separation. We sat them down and told them we were separating. They acted quite more mature than we were expecting. Maybe they sensed this to be coming. Children are quick to sense a broken home. I told them I would be moving out while their mother would stay in this house until the lease lasts or until she figures out her next move. When we told them they could choose to live with any of their parents, they asked which one of us was getting a boyfriend-girlfriend home. It shocked me. I looked at Lisa and said no one is getting remarried in the near future. They said they needed time to think. We gave them space and time. Meanwhile, I packed my stuff and loaded it onto my truck. I had found a place for myself, but I was yet to get the possession. It was due in 2 weeks, so I decided to stay at my warehouse until then. While leaving, I told my children that there are no hurry to make the decision and they could let me know whether they want to move in with me. Lisa came to me and asked, "So is that it? Are you never going to forgive me?" I said no, not anytime soon, and left. After setting up a makeshift room for myself at the warehouse, I reached out to the fair partner's wife. Yes, how could I not tell the truth to that woman who had been so hard for her family yet getting betrayed? I found her email on a professional social network and emailed her the detail, along with my introduction and contact information. I got a call from her within 10 minutes. She was struggling for words. I told her I understood her pain. I have been through a similar experience. She sobbed and said she had been working so hard for all these years so that her family could have a good life. Her third partner was an aspiring baseball player in his 20s. When they got married, he got into an accident that injured his torso and he was deemed unfit to play baseball. So he now mentors small kids. He doesn't make much, so she has to work that hard to secure their daughter's future. And this is how he pays her back for her love and sacrifice. I narrated my story and she was sorry for me. I told her I had served a divorce notice to Lisa. She said she needs to think about it thoroughly. She thanked me and hung up a week later to D-Day. Lisa's father called me and apologized. He said he was sorry that I had to go through all of this because of Lisa. Honestly, his apology meant nothing to me. I had been through enough. I will be moving to my new home tomorrow. It is far from the place I used to live. I don't want to bump into Lisa or her family or friends. I know that I will have to see her face sometimes due to my children. But that would be it. Right now all I want is some peaceful, quiet time with myself. Thank you for tuning in. If you enjoyed this episode of the story, please give it a like. And don't forget to subscribe to get notifications for updates.